Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. For today's video, we are looking at one of the most heated debates in recent memory when it comes to the NBA, and that is in terms of the Rookie of the Year award between Ben Simmons and Donovan Mitchell. So a lot of people think that Ben Simmons should be winning the award because of his crazy style of play, pretty much being like a 6'10 point guard in the NBA, and also Donovan Mitchell, who really prevented the Utah Jazz from going into rebuild mode and really picked up right where Gordon Hayward left off as the main scorer of that team. So for today's video, what better way to see how both these players do than by switching their teams, guys? We are going to put Ben Simmons on the Utah Jazz and Donovan Mitchell over here on the Philadelphia 76ers. Really, the goal is to see how they play on each other's squad, see if the records are still similar. Right now, to making this video, the 76ers are 50-30 on the season, while the Utah Jazz are 47-33. So before we get started on this, guys, I do want to talk a bit about my opinions on both these players. So let's actually start with Ben Simmons here. Okay, so what I gotta say about Ben Simmons is a lot of people are using the argument that, you know what, Crispy, like, he's been around the NBA for over a year now because of, you know, essentially missing his quote-unquote rookie season. My argument against that is that, yes, he was around, like, you know, NBA, just the whole NBA experience and workouts and things like that, but he was not playing competitive basketball. He was not playing at the highest of levels. I mean, he wasn't really playing all that much anyway because he had to watch his injuries. So essentially, man, it's like he took a year off of basketball. Yes, he was around the environment. There's a lot to be said about that. In my argument about Donovan Mitchell, a lot of people are saying that, you know, he's only had 9 months to adapt to the NBA life. It's like he was drafted right out of college and stuff like that, went straight to the NBA. He kind of had to learn on the fly, which is totally true too, man. I respect both of these players. I think they're both fantastic. I think the NBA is in good hands when it comes to both these guys out here. But I'm gonna say at the end of the video, guys, who I think is, in my opinion, the Rookie of the Year. So let's look at the lineups of these teams, of these players switched out there. Then we're gonna talk some more about these guys' stats. So for the 76ers, we are going to run Markelle Fultz at point guard. I'm actually kind of curious what he does too. And then Donovan Mitchell at shooting guard, Robert Covington at the 3, Dario Saric at the 4, and Joel Embiid at the 5. The thing about this is that this does allow for Robert Covington to actually start on this team, just because he doesn't always start all the time, just because, you know, especially like Markelle Fultz plays. We got JJ Redick out there and stuff. So JJ Redick actually has to get shifted over to the bench because Donovan Mitchell's natural position is a shooting guard. I mean, I guess he probably potentially could play point guard, but being 6'3", it's like, I don't think he's quite a point guard. I think he definitely, like, shooting guard is his position and a bit too short to play the small forward position. We look over here at the Utah Jazz, and it's going to be Ben Simmons going to the 3 spots right there because Ricky Rubio is, like, the type of point guard that Rubio is. He's like a pass-first guy. I mean, yes, his offense has been pretty decent this NBA season, but definitely a guy you want to handle the basketball a lot, which is going to be kind of interesting just because, like, I feel like Ricky Rubio and Ben Simmons, they might collide at times when it comes to that. Because the great backcourt of Ricky Rubio and Donovan Mitchell, the great thing about them is that, like, they both know their roles. Like, Rubio is the playmaker, Donovan Mitchell is the guy that is going to go out there and shoot the basketball and get you buckets, get you 20 points per game. Then we are going to run Joe Ingles here at the shooting guard position. I think I pronounced his name correctly, probably not. And then we got Derek Favors and Rudy Gobert. So definitely when you look at this team, I think what Ben Simmons might struggle with is that there just simply is not a ton of shooting. Like Derek Favors, Rudy Gobert, they're not going to stretch the floor. Ricky Rubio is going to have his off games. Joe out here can shoot the basketball. Ben Simmons can't shoot. So I'm really curious what their offense is going to look like. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and simulate this season. I think another thing to note too, which this is more towards a nod towards Donovan Mitchell, is that the Jazz have 47 wins in the Western Conference. The 76ers have 50 wins in the Eastern Conference. I mean, when it comes to strength of the conference, we all know which the stronger one is. I don't even have to say it. But let's get started on the simulation, talk about both of these players' stats. It's just such a really good debate, guys. Just because, man, if either one of these guys was playing last NBA season, it would have been a sweep as far as voting goes. Malcolm Brogdon was great and everything, but definitely not as good as a Donovan Mitchell or Ben Simmons. So simulate through date here, going on these records. Okay, so Donovan Mitchell's stats on the season. As of right now, through 77 games, he is averaging 20.5 points. He's getting about 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 1-2 steals a game, shooting 51% field goal percentage while adding about 34% from 3. Definitely would be nice if he could put that 3-pointer up to around 37%. But yeah, it's pretty much the name of the game when it comes down to Mitchell is he's going to get you some buckets out there. He's also been pretty clutch too, which is kind of crazy to see just from a 21-year-old like that just coming into the NBA. Now, I didn't realize how many years he played at college. I actually thought he was younger than 21. I thought he was like 19 or 20 or something like that. So he is a bit mature when it comes to rookies. Actually the same age as Ben Simmons, who is also 21. So, you know, you can't really use like age or maturity as an argument either. Now we look over here at Ben Simmons. I'm pulling up his stats on my end here. He is averaging 16 points. He is averaging 8 rebounds per game and 8 assists, about 1-2 steals, and about 1 block per game. Turnover-wise, getting about 3 turnovers, where Mitchell's getting about 2 or 3 turnovers per game. Now, a lot of that does to Ben Simmons handles the ball a lot more, where Ricky Rubio is the main ball handler on the Utah Jazz, right? So, based off what I see on the stats, I think I would rather have Ben Simmons, guys. Ben Simmons is my no-doubt choice for Rookie of the Year. Let's put aside the whole, you know, NBA experience thing, because I understand where that argument's coming from. I understand where, especially if you're a Mitchell fan, where you want to bring that up. But when we look just at the stats, when we look at these guys playing their first NBA games in their first official NBA season, it's Ben Simmons. The scoring is only like 4 points less, 4 or 5 points less than Donovan Mitchell. The assists are way up. The total rebounds, I mean, he's doubling what Mitchell does in assists and rebounds. Now I will say, as far as like being surprised, like, oh my god, like this dude is doing this good, like nobody expected that. Donovan Mitchell gives me the shock factor, guys, and that's, I mean, there's something to be said about that. Donovan Mitchell was picked like, what was it, like 14th or 15th in the draft, something along those lines. So he was picked towards the end of the lottery, and nobody really expected him to be this. I mean, I think a lot of people were kind of expecting him just to be like, you know, maybe a bench shooting guard, maybe a guy that could potentially start on your team in the future, but wasn't ever really going to be an all-star or nothing like that. Now he's got us all thinking all-star, where Ben Simmons, he was the first pick in the draft. So, I mean, he kind of had that whole, you know, cloud around him of, hey, he needs to be this, or he's going to be considered a bust. So, I don't know, man. I just feel like the argument there is arguments for both players. I understand where Donovan Mitchell fans are coming from. I like Donovan Mitchell a lot, guys. Like, I don't mean to like be hating on him. It's just what I've seen Ben Simmons do this season, what I've seen the 76ers do this season has been freaking absolutely crazy. Now, I mean, I think it's also important to look at rosters. Like, do you guys think that the 76ers or the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons aside, which team do you think actually has the better roster out there? Because I don't know, I think it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, Rudy Gobert, Joel Embiid, it's like Joel Embiid is the better all-around center, where Rudy Gobert brings in more defense, although Joel Embiid does get about 2-3 blocks a game. But Rudy Gobert, it's like well, not this season, but he's usually pretty healthy out there. I don't know, man. I think both rosters are pretty solid out there. It's like Derek Favors. I'm not a big fan of him as like a starting four in the NBA, but we are at the end of the simulation right here, guys. The Utah Jazz currently 49 and 32 on the season, which is similar to the what the real record of the Utah Jazz is. Oh my God, yo! Oh my God, dude, yo, Donovan Mitchell out here making some noise. 59 and 22, potentially 60 wins on the season for the Philadelphia 76ers with Donovan Mitchell over Ben Simmons. So does that show that the 76ers just have the more talented roster overall, and Ben Simmons is just kind of reaping those benefits? Rookie year though, Ben Simmons got that. I think both guys played equal minutes pretty much. Ben Simmons, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.3 steals, roughly the same numbers. Somehow managed to shoot 29% from 3. I don't even think he's attempted like a single 3-pointer on the season, besides like the occasional like half-court heave at the end of like a quarter or something like that. But yeah, so All-NBA teams, we got Ben Simmons making All-NBA second team. All-rookie team, we do have Ben Simmons on there and Donovan Mitchell. I'm really curious what kind of stats he put up. Both guys went up to 86 overall progression-wise. So yeah, let's check out, we'll go to the rest of the Jazz stats real quick since we are no Ben Simmons. Player stats on the season. So, Derek Favors is actually the second leading scorer on this team, which is kind of surprising. Although I will say, like, pick and roll with Ben Simmons and Favors could have definitely been a thing. A little pick and pop with the mid-range shot. Rubio managed to get 14 points and 7 assists, which definitely ate into Ben Simmons' assists a little bit, just because the Philadelphia 76ers outside Simmons does not really have like that great playmaker on their team. I mean, Markelle Fultz could potentially be that, but I see him being more of a shooting, shooting first point guard for that team. Gobert at 12 points, 10 rebounds out there, 3 assists. Really, man, a good all-around record. Joe out there with 11 points, 4 rebounds. Good for him. Let's check out these 76ers. So, Donovan Mitchell on the 76ers, 17 points, 3-4 rebounds, 4-5 assists out there, 1-2 steals per game. Pretty much similar numbers to they put up on the Utah Jazz. And this team did finish with a better record, though, guys. Joel Embiid absolutely beasted, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks per game, about a steal out there, a few assists. Covington is the starting small forward, which would work out nicely for this team. We got JJ Redick at 13 points. Starridge, the stretch 4 at 12 and 7. And then Markelle Fultz, who we also got to keep in mind, Markelle Fultz did not really play an entire NBA season at all. He's only played a few games. But I mean, in real life, 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists for him. Ilyasova at 10 points per game. Let's check out these team stats here real quick. So, points per game. We got the 76ers out there, guys, putting on a scoring clinic, 4th in the NBA in scoring, while the Utah Jazz are 18th. So that's okay. That's pretty good. Points allowed per game. So defensively, we got the damn dude. Okay, so 76ers, that's like the 5th best in the NBA. Utah Jazz, the 2nd best defensive team in the NBA. Let's go ahead and get to these playoffs. Now, I really hope these guys meet in the finals, although it's probably not going to happen because it's 2K, and you'll never see the Jazz in the finals on this game. Simulate current rounds. See how this all goes. Okay, so we do have the Utah Jazz beating the OKC Thunder 4-3 in the first round, while the 76ers won 4-1 against the Miami Heat. Closeout game, 25 for Covington, 25 for Joel Embiid, and 18, 3, and 5 for Donovan Mitchell. Triple-double for Markelle Fultz. Let's go over to the Utah Jazz. We got Ricky Rubio dropped 25 points. So Ben Simmons, he only shot 1 time that game, guys. I mean, he had, how many fouls did he have? Oh, he fouled out. Okay, so we got some major foul trouble. 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. Second round here. I think Philadelphia might move on. I'm not expecting Utah to beat the Golden State Warriors. Simulate current round here. And, okay, so, damn. So, okay, so both teams were actually eliminated in the second round. Philadelphia, the Toronto Raptors, which totally could happen in real life. And then Utah actually did take the Golden State Warriors to a 7-game series, but ultimately Stephen Curry was too much for him. Closeout game 20 for Gobert. Ben Simmons at 10, 3, and 5. Where over here we have, let's see, man, where's he at? Yo, where's he at, man? Oh, Donovan Mitchell. Okay, he really choked that game. 7, 4, and 7, so 1 for 9 shooting for him. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section below who you think the Rookie of the Year should be. If there's any year to do like co-ed MVPs or Rookie of the Years, I should say, this would be the year to do that. But I'm gonna say, my thoughts is that I think Ben Simmons deserves the Rookie of the Year, and I think it should be a very close race. But Ben Simmons ultimately should get that, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and peace out, my friends.